The containment field flickered red as Captain Derek Lawson stepped into the observation corridor. His boots echoed against metal grating, the sound swallowed by the hum of power conduits keeping the beast locked down. 47 days since the Corvithy dreadnought had crashed on Titan's ice fields. 47 days since they'd pulled her from the wreckage, the only survivor among thousands. She didn't look like a survivor now. The creature pressed against the energy barrier, her six-limbed body coiled in fury. Scales like obsidian caught the harsh fluorescent light. Her eyes burned violet, tracking Derek's movement with predatory focus. 3 meters of alien muscle and rage, designed for war. The scientists called her Subject 19. The military called her a weapon. Derek just called her trapped. "Evening," he said, settling onto the bench across from her cell. She hissed, exposing rows of crystalline teeth. Her claws scraped uselessly against invisible walls. The barrier sparked white where she touched it, and she recoiled with a sound like shattered glass. Derek pulled out his harmonica. I know. You hate this part." He brought the instrument to his lips. "But we've got another long night ahead, and I'm not spending it listening to you tear that cell apart." The first note rang clear and low, an old Earth song his grandfather taught him, something about rivers and going home. Derek didn't remember all the words anymore. Just the melody, just the way it filled empty spaces. The alien stopped moving, her violet eyes fixed on him, head tilting with eerie precision. The hissing faded. One by one, her tensed limbs relaxed against the floor. Derek kept playing, watching her settle into something that almost looked like calm. This was their routine now. Every night shift, same bench, same songs. The xenobiologist thought he was insane. The security chief threatened to revoke his clearance. But the beast stopped attacking the barriers when he played, stopped bleeding herself raw against the field. That bought everyone time to figure out what to do with her. Derek transitioned into something slower, sadder. The harmonica's voice filled the corridor like a prayer. The alien's breathing synced with the rhythm, her massive chest rising and falling in time. Her eyes never left his face. "They want to dissect you tomorrow," he whispered between verses. "Cut you open, study what makes you tick. I've been stalling them, but I'm running out of excuses." She tilted her head further, almost 90 degrees. A low rumble came from deep in her throat, not aggressive questioning. Derek finished the song and lowered the harmonica. "I don't know why I'm telling you this. You probably can't understand a word I'm saying." The alien moved closer to the barrier, slow and deliberate. She extended one clawed hand, pressing it flat against the energy field. The barrier didn't spark this time. It held, humming steady. Derek stood and matched her movement, placing his palm opposite hers. Heat radiated through the field, the closest thing to contact they'd ever shared. "I'm sorry," he said. The lights went out. Emergency klaxons screamed through the darkness. The containment field's hum died. Derek's hand touched scaled flesh, warm and real, before he jerked backward. Red emergency lights flickered on, painting everything in blood. The alien stood free in the corridor, unrestrained for the first time since her capture. She looked at Derek and smiled. The alarm split the air like a razor. Derek's hand went to his sidearm, fingers closing around polymer grip. The alien didn't move. She stood 3 meters away. Freedom spread before her like an open sky, and she just stared at him with those burning violet eyes. "Security breach level 9, the automated voice announced. "All personnel evacuate immediately." Boots thundered down adjacent corridors. Shouts echoed through ventilation shafts. The facility was coming alive with panic, and Derek stood frozen between a monster and the door. The alien took one step forward. Derek raised his weapon. "Don't." She stopped. Her head tilted again, that same curious angle from before. Then she did something that made his blood freeze. She opened her mouth and hummed. Not a hiss, not a growl. The melody from his harmonica. Perfect pitch, every note exactly as he'd played it. His finger trembled on the trigger. "Lawson, report!" The comm unit on his belt crackled with Commander Patricia Vance's voice. "Are you in the containment sector?" The alien hummed louder, drowning out the commander's demands. She raised both front limbs, claws retracted, palms open. The universal gesture of peace, or the perfect setup for an attack. Derek couldn't tell which. "Lawson, answer me." "She's out," Derek said into the comm, eyes never leaving the alien. "The field's down. She's standing right in front of me. Silence on the other end." "Then, is she hostile?" The alien lowered herself to the ground, all 6 limbs folding beneath her body. She made herself smaller, less threatening. The humming continued, soft and steady. "I don't think so," Derek whispered. "Kill it. That's a direct order." Derek's hand steadied, the weapon's sight lined up with her skull, right between those glowing eyes. One squeeze. One shot. The threat eliminated, the decision made for him. The alien stopped humming. She watched him, waiting. "Lawson, do you copy? Neutralize the target now." He lowered the gun. "Negative, Commander. She's not attacking. Something else caused the power failure. I don't care what caused it. That thing is a Korvathi war beast. It's killed hundreds of our people. Thousands. Executed before it tears through this entire station." The alien rose slowly, gracefully. She moved past Derek toward the corridor junction, then stopped and looked back at him. Waiting again. "She wants me to follow her," Derek said. "You're relieved of duty, Captain. Stand down immediately. Security teams are en route to your position." Derek holstered his weapon and stepped forward. The alien's eyes brightened, that violet glow intensifying with what might have been approval. She moved down the left corridor, the one leading deeper into the research wing. "Derek, don't be stupid." Vance's voice had shifted from commander to friend. "We've known each other 12 years. I'm asking you, person to person, don't follow that thing. She knows something, Pat. She's trying to show me something. She's an animal, a dangerous one." The alien stopped at a sealed bulkhead and pressed her claws against the access panel. Sparks flew. Metal screamed as she peeled back the reinforced door like paper. Beyond it, Derek saw the main power distribution center, and his stomach dropped. The room was a war zone. Scorch marks blackened every surface. 3 bodies lay sprawled across broken equipment, their uniforms marked with the Korvathi insignia. Not human bodies. Alien corpses, their gray skin already stiffening in death. "There are more of them," Derek breathed. "The crash survivors. They're inside the station." The alien pointed one claw at the destroyed power relay, then at the ventilation shaft above. The grate had been torn open from the inside. She gestured urgently, her movements sharp with warning. An explosion rocked the station. The floor buckled beneath Derek's feet, throwing him against the wall. Emergency lights died completely. In the darkness, he heard screaming from the residential sectors, human screaming. The alien's eyes provided the only light. 2 purple stars in absolute black. She grabbed Derek's arm, her grip firm but careful. Claws retracted. She pulled him back toward the containment corridor, moving with purpose through the blind chaos. "What are you doing?" Derek struggled against her hold. She didn't answer, couldn't answer, but her humming returned, that same melody, and somehow it cut through his panic like a knife through fog. She dragged him into her cell, the one place in the sector still powered by independent generators. The barrier flickered back to life behind them. Outside, shapes moved through the darkness. Large shapes, faster than anything human. Derek heard the staccato burst of pulse rifles, the wet sound of claws meeting flesh, the abrupt silence when the shooting stopped. The alien pushed Derek into the corner of her cell and positioned herself between him and the barrier. She spread her 6 limbs wide, making herself as large as possible, protecting him. "You're shielding me," Derek said, understanding flooding through him. "From your own kind." She glanced back, and in her burning eyes he saw something he'd never expected to find in a war beast: defiance. The shadows outside grew closer, and Derek realized they were about to discover exactly whose side she'd chosen. 3 Korvathi warriors emerged from the darkness like nightmares given form, larger than the alien in the cell, covered in battle scars and military implants that glowed sickly green. They moved with synchronized precision. Predators who'd hunted together for years. The lead warrior stopped at the barrier and spoke in a language that sounded like grinding stone. The alien in front of Derek responded with a sharp bark, her body tensing like a coiled spring. "I'm guessing that wasn't friendly," Derek muttered. The lead warrior slammed both fists against the barrier. It held, but barely. Hairline cracks spiderwebbed across the energy field. Another hit like that and they'd be through. The alien turned her head slightly, keeping her eyes on the threat. She made a low clicking sound, rhythmic and deliberate. Derek's hand went to his harmonica without thinking. He raised it to his lips and matched her rhythm, turning clicks into music. The effect was immediate. The warriors outside froze. Their heads snapped toward Derek, eyes widening with something that looked like shock. They started speaking rapidly, their voices rising in pitch. "Yeah, that's right," Derek said, playing louder. "Your friend here likes earth music. What are you going to do about it?" The lead warrior roared and charged the barrier. Its shoulder hit the field with the force of a freight train. The cracks spread, energy sparking and failing. "One more hit," the alien beside Derek sang. Not humming this time, but actual words in her grinding language, her voice weaving through Derek's melody like thread through fabric. The warrior stopped mid-attack. She sang louder, her body trembling with effort. Derek recognized the tune underneath the alien words. The river song. His grandfather's song. She'd learned it, memorized every note, and now she was singing it back to her own people with a fury that made the air vibrate. The lead warrior responded, its voice softer now, questioning. The alien shook her head violently and kept singing. Derek kept playing, following her lead, trusting instincts he didn't understand. The barrier collapsed. Nothing separated them now. 4 Corvithi in close quarters, and Derek armed with nothing but a harmonica and a prayer. The warriors stepped forward as one, and the alien launched herself at them. She moved like liquid violence. Her claws found throats, joints, eyes. The first warrior went down in seconds. Its screams cut short by her jaws closing around its windpipe. The second swung a blade that looked grown from its own arm, but she was faster, rolling beneath the strike and driving her spiked tail through its abdomen. The third warrior grabbed her from behind, lifting her off the ground. She thrashed, but its grip held firm. It spoke again, that grinding language, and this time Derek heard the pleading tone. Beneath the alien sounds, the lead warrior approached Derek. It could have killed him instantly, but instead it extended one massive hand and pointed at the harmonica, then at the alien struggling in its companion's grip, then back to Derek. "You want me to play?" Derek asked. The warrior nodded, a gesture so human it was jarring. Derek brought the harmonica back to his lips. He played the river song from the beginning, slow and clear. The alien stopped struggling. The warriors stopped moving. For one impossible moment, 4 Corvithi war beasts and 1 human captain stood in a destroyed containment cell, united by a melody written on a farm in Kansas 200 years ago. The lead warrior released a sound Derek had never heard before, something between a sigh and a sob. It made a gesture to its companion, who carefully set the alien down. She immediately moved back to Derek's side, but her posture had changed, less defensive, more watchful. The warrior spoke, and the alien translated by drawing in the dust on the floor. Simple pictures, crude but clear. A ship, a weapon, a countdown. "They're going to destroy the station," Derek said. The alien nodded and drew more. A smaller ship, an escape route. Then she drew stick figures, humans and Corvithi side by side. "You want to save us? Why?" She pointed at Derek, then at herself, then traced the musical notes she'd drawn during their 47 nights together. Every song, catalogued in dust and memory. The lead warrior spoke again, urgent now. It pointed up, toward the station's outer hull. The alien grabbed Derek's hand and pulled him toward the corridor. The warriors fell in around them, forming a protective perimeter. "This is insane," Derek said into his comm. "Commander Vance, do you copy?" Static answered him. Then a voice, weak and strained. "Derek, where are you?" "Level 9, moving toward emergency shuttle bay." I've got 4 Corvathi with me, but they're not hostile. Pat, they're trying to help. That's not possible. Our sensors show 15 Corvati signatures throughout the station. They're slaughtering everyone. Not these ones. They're different, and they're saying something about a weapon. An explosion rocked the corridor. The ceiling buckled, raining debris. One of the warriors caught a falling support beam that would have crushed Derek, holding tons of metal like it weighed nothing. The Corvathi planted a fusion charge in the reactor core. Vance's voice crackled. We found it 3 minutes ago. Can't disarm it. We're evacuating everyone we can, but we've lost communications with most sectors. The alien pulled Derek faster. They hit the shuttle bay doors at a full run. The warriors tore through the locked entrance, their strength making quick work of reinforced titanium. Inside, chaos ruled. Humans and aliens fought in desperate clusters, neither side winning, both sides dying. A pulse rifle fired from the left, its beam cutting down one of the warriors with Derek. The Corvathi fell without a sound, its chest burned open. The alien roared. Grief and rage combined into something that made Derek's bones ache. The remaining 2 warriors charged toward the shooter, but she held them back with a sharp command. Instead, she climbed onto a cargo container and sang. Her voice cut through the gunfire and screaming. Both humans and Corvathi stopped, weapons lowering in confusion. She sang the river song, her alien words mixing with Derek's melody, creating something new, something that didn't belong to Earth or Corvath, but to the space between. Derek raised his harmonica and joined her. In the sudden quiet, he saw Commander Vance across the bay, her weapon aimed at the alien's head. Their eyes met, and Derek knew he had 30 seconds to convince his oldest friend not to fire. Derek stepped between Vance's rifle and the alien, hands raised. Don't shoot. Move aside, Captain. Blood ran down her face from a gash above her eye. Behind her, 20 Marines held position, weapons trained on every Corvathi in the bay. She's trying to stop this, Derek said. They all are. The ones attacking us, they're separatists, extremists. These 4 want peace. 4? Vance's laugh was bitter. I count 3, and one of them just killed Lieutenant Barnes. Derek looked back. The warrior she referenced stood over a human body, claws dripping red. But the Marine's weapon was still raised, finger frozen on the trigger. Defensive kill, not murder. The distinction mattered, but he knew it wouldn't save them. Pat, listen to me. They know about the fusion charge. They can help us stop it. The charge detonates in 11 minutes. Nobody's stopping it. We're evacuating. The alien climbed down from the container and approached Vance directly. Every Marine's finger tensed on their triggers. She moved slowly, deliberately, until she stood an arm's length from the commander. Then she knelt, pressing her forehead to the deck in a posture of complete submission. Vance's rifle didn't waver. What's it doing? Surrendering, Derek said, offering herself as a hostage. Pat, she's asking you to trust her. Trust? Vance's voice cracked. These things killed my entire squad on Europa, burned them alive in their bunker. I watched it happen on the security feeds. I watched them die screaming. The alien remained motionless, vulnerable, waiting. That wasn't her, Derek said quietly. She wasn't even there. She was locked in that cell, listening to me play songs she couldn't understand, hoping someone would see her as more than a weapon. 10 minutes. Vance lowered her rifle 1 inch. If I'm wrong about this, we all die. We're dying anyway. This way. Maybe we take a chance on something different. The commander's jaw worked silently. Then she stepped back and gestured to her Marines. Lower your weapons. Form a perimeter around the shuttles. Anyone who's not Corvathi or wearing our uniform gets shot on sight. The alien rose and spoke to the 2 remaining warriors. They moved immediately, running toward the maintenance shafts that led to the reactor core. The alien turned to Derek and made a complex gesture with her claws. I think she wants me to come with her, Derek said. Absolutely not. Vance grabbed his arm. You're getting on a shuttle right now. The alien shook her head and pointed at Derek, then at herself, then made the musical notation gesture again. She started walking toward the reactor shaft, looking back expectantly. She needs me there, Derek said. I don't know why, but she does. Derek, get everyone out, Pat. If we're not back in 9 minutes, leave without us. He ran after the alien before Vance could stop him. They plunged into the maintenance shaft, climbing down metal rungs into the station's heart. Heat rose from below, the fusion reactor running hot from the sabotage. Sweat poured down Derek's face. The alien moved faster, her 6 limbs giving her speed Derek couldn't match. She reached back and grabbed him, pulling him onto her back. He wrapped his arms around her neck, and she descended the shaft like a spider on a web. They hit the reactor level at 7 minutes. The 2 warriors were already there, standing before a device that pulsed with ominous red light. They'd opened the casing, exposing a tangle of wires and crystalline components that looked nothing like human technology. The lead warrior spoke rapidly, pointing at different parts of the device. The alien responded, her tone frustrated. They argued while precious seconds burned away. "What's wrong?" Derek asked. The alien drew in the condensation on a coolant pipe. A circuit diagram, incredibly detailed. She pointed at 3 different junctions, then made an explosive gesture with her hands. "It's triple redundant," Derek said. "Cut 1 wire, the others trigger the detonation." She nodded and drew more. All 3 had to be cut simultaneously, but they were positioned too far apart for even Corvathy reach. It needed 4 hands, working in perfect coordination. 6 minutes. "I'll take 1, Derek said. The alien's eyes widened. She shook her head violently, pointing at the components. Even from here, Derek could feel the radiation pouring off them. Lethal doses for a human. The Corvathy could survive it. Barely. But he'd be dead in hours. "Do we have a choice?" She hesitated, then drew something new. A single musical note. Derek understood. "You need me alive to finish the song?" She pressed her forehead against his, that strange gesture of connection they'd shared through the barrier. Her skin was fever-hot, her breath smelling of ozone and something sweetly alien. When she pulled back, her eyes held an apology he felt in his chest. 5 minutes. "Show me what to do." She positioned him at the leftmost junction, his hands on a wire that hummed with deadly energy. The warriors took the other 2 positions. The alien stood at the center, where she could see all 3 points. She raised 1 claw, then began to sing. The river song. But different now. Faster, more urgent. Each note a countdown. Derek's hands trembled on the wire. 1 wrong move, 1 second of mistiming, and they'd vaporize half the station. The alien's voice rose and fell, creating a rhythm. The warriors swayed with it, their bodies locked into the tempo. Derek felt it too, that pull, that synchronization. His heartbeat matched her song. She hit a high note and held it. Derek cut the wire. The warriors cut theirs simultaneously. The device went dark. For 1 perfect moment, silence filled the reactor room. Then alarms shrieked, different ones now, celebrating success instead of screaming disaster. The fusion charge was dead. Derek's legs gave out. He collapsed against the wall, his hands already showing the first signs of radiation burns. The alien caught him before he hit the ground, cradling him with unexpected gentleness. "Worth it," he whispered. She carried him back toward the shaft, the warriors clearing the path ahead. But Derek felt the damage spreading through his system, cellular breakdown happening too fast. His vision blurred, his lungs burned with each breath. "Not gonna make it to the shuttles," he said. The alien sang to him, soft and sad. The river song transformed into a lullaby. She climbed the shaft one-handed, refusing to let him go. Her tears fell on his face, hot and viscous. Nothing like human tears, but meaning the same thing. They emerged into the shuttle bay at 2 minutes remaining on the evacuation clock. Vance saw them and ran forward, medics scrambling behind her. "Get him to medical now," she shouted. The alien wouldn't release him. She held Derek close, still singing, her voice cracking with emotion. He raised one shaking hand to touch her face. "Finish the song," he whispered. "Teach them, please." She nodded, understanding written in every line of her alien features. Derek's world went dark to the sound of her singing. Derek woke to white light and the steady beep of medical equipment. His body felt wrong, heavy, and foreign. He tried to move and immediately regretted it. Pain lanced through every nerve. Don't. Vance's voice came from his left. She looked exhausted, her uniform replaced by civilian clothes. You've been out for 6 days. The radiation damage was extensive. Am I dying? His voice came out as a rasp. You were. The doctors gave you maybe 12 hours. She leaned forward, her expression unreadable. Then she intervened. She? Vance gestured toward the observation window. The alien sat on the other side, her violet eyes fixed on Derek with unwavering focus. She wore restraints on her limbs, but they looked ceremonial rather than functional. 2 guards stood behind her, weapons holstered. She wouldn't leave, Vance continued. Refused to evacuate with the other Corvathi. Sat outside medical bay for 3 days straight, until our xenobiologists figured out what she was trying to tell us. She paused. Corvathi blood has regenerative properties, incredibly powerful ones. She gave you 4 transfusions, nearly killed herself in the process. Derek stared at the alien through the glass. She raised 1 claw in a small wave. The war's over, Derek. Ended 2 days ago. The Corvathi High Command surrendered after word spread about what happened here. About a war beast who chose to save humans instead of kill them. About a human who trusted an alien enemy. Vance's laugh was short and sharp. You two became the most famous beings in 3 star systems. The others, the warriors who helped us, alive, in protective custody. The one we lost in the shuttle bay is being honored by both governments. First joint military funeral in history. She stood and moved toward the door. You've got visitors waiting. Diplomats, scientists, journalists. Everyone wants to know how you did it. How you turned a killing machine into an ally. I just played music. It was more than that. You saw her as a person when everyone else saw a monster. That changed everything. Vance opened the door, then looked back. She's asking to see you. Are you up for it? Derek nodded. Vance left. A moment later, the alien entered, moving carefully on her 6 limbs. The guards followed but kept their distance. She approached Derek's bed and made that low humming sound, the one that meant relief. Hey, Derek said. She reached out slowly, giving him time to refuse. When he didn't pull away, she touched his face with the back of her claws. A gesture he'd learned meant affection among her kind. Her skin was cooler than before, weakened from the transfusions. A scientist entered carrying a translation device, newly designed for Corvathi vocal patterns. Captain Lawson, this is Dr. Helen Pierce. I've been working with our guest to establish communication protocols. The alien spoke her grinding language flowing through the device. I am called Cathara. My designation in your language would be Shield Singer of the 7th Claw. Shield Singer? Derek repeated. That's beautiful. It is a name of shame among my people. I was bred for war but failed to find glory in killing. I was broken, they said. Defective. Her voice carried weight even through the mechanical translation. They sent me on a suicide mission. When your forces captured me, I expected death. Instead, you gave me songs. You saved my life, Cathara. You saved mine first. Every night when you played music, you reminded me that I was more than a weapon. That even a creature made for destruction could choose a different path. She paused, her eyes dimming slightly. The warriors who helped us, they were also shield singers, outcasts. We found each other in the wreckage of our ship and planned to die together, rather than kill for commanders who saw us as tools. But you didn't die, no. We heard you. We heard your songs through the ventilation systems, carried by lucky currents. We heard a human teaching an alien to remember beauty. Her claws tightened gently on his hand. We decided to live instead, to fight for something worth preserving. Dr. Pierce cleared her throat. Captain, there's something else. Cathara has been teaching us Corvathi cultural practices. Apparently what she did, giving her blood to save you, it's not just medical intervention, it's a sacred bond in their society. A life debt that can't be broken. What does that mean? Cathara spoke directly, her translated words formal. It means you are my shieldkin now. Where you go, I follow. Your enemies are mine. Your struggles are mine. Until death separates us, or the debt is fulfilled. I don't want you bound to me by obligation. This is not obligation. This is choice. She leaned closer. You asked me to finish the song, to teach my people. I cannot do this alone. The Korvathi respect strength, and I am seen as weak. But you, Derek Lawson, you are seen as the human who stopped a war with music. Together, we have strength neither possesses alone. The door burst open. A young officer Derek didn't recognize rushed in, followed by Vance. Commander, we've got a situation. The Korvathi delegation just arrived for the peace talks, and there's been an incident. What kind of incident? Hardliners. Korvathi military faction that refuses to accept the surrender. They've taken hostages in the diplomatic quarters, 15 humans and 5 Korvathi moderates. They're demanding the execution of all shield singers as traitors and the resumption of hostilities. Cathara's body went rigid. They want us dead to erase their shame. If we live, we prove the war was wrong. We prove they wasted millions of lives for nothing. How many hostiles? Derek tried to sit up, ignoring the screaming protests from his body. Unknown. At least 20, possibly more. They're heavily armed and fortified. Our assault teams can't get close without triggering a massacre. The officer looked at Cathara. They're asking specifically for the shield singers. Surrender yourselves, and they'll release the hostages. No, Derek said flatly. Captain, we don't have... I said no. We didn't survive a fusion bomb and end a war just to hand them over for execution. He swung his legs off the bed, yanking out IV lines. Alarms shrieked. Where are the other shield singers? Hangar deck, under guard, Vance said. Derek, you can barely stand. Then I'll crawl. He looked at Cathara. You said we're shieldkin. That means we faced this together. Are you with me? She bared her crystalline teeth in what he'd learned was a Korvathi smile. Always. Good, 'cause I've got an idea. Derek grabbed his harmonica from the bedside table. How do you feel about giving one more concert? Cathara's eyes blazed violet. What do you have in mind? Derek told them. Vance called him insane. The doctor said he'd die before reaching the diplomatic quarters. The officer said the plan would never work. Cathara just started singing. Derek leaned against Cathara as they moved through the corridors, his radiation-damaged body protesting every step. The other 2 shield singers flanked them, their massive forms clearing a path. Vance followed with a skeleton security team, weapons ready but lowered. This is suicide, she muttered for the 5th time. Probably, Derek agreed. He raised the harmonica to his lips and played a single note. Cathara matched it, her voice weaving around his melody. The other shield singers joined, creating harmony that shouldn't exist between species separated by millions of years of evolution. The sound filled the station's halls, carried by ventilation and acoustics into every corner. They reached the diplomatic quarters. The doors were sealed, blast-proof and impenetrable. Through the comm system, a Korvathi voice growled demands in broken English. Send out the defectives! Send them now, or the humans die! Derek stepped forward and spoke into the intercom. No deals, but I'll give you something better. A chance to understand why you've already lost. He played. The river song poured out, every note clear and perfect, despite his shaking hands. Cathara sang the Korvathi words she'd created, the ones that turned his grandfather's melody into something universal. The other shield singers added their voices, building layers of sound that made the walls vibrate. Silence from inside. Then, stop this noise. It means nothing. It means everything, Derek said. It's why your war failed. You taught your people that strength comes from destruction. We're teaching them it comes from creation. You are weak, all of you. Singing will not save your hostages. Cathara stepped forward and spoke in her native tongue, her translated words echoing through speakers. I was there when the First Fleet burned Colony 7. I killed 32 humans that day. I did this because my commanders told me humans were animals, incapable of true thought or feeling. She paused, her voice hardening. Then one human sat outside my cage every night and played music. He didn't know I understood rhythm. That sound is sacred in our culture, that every Korvathi is born singing. He just played because he thought it might help. That small act of kindness destroyed everything they taught me. You betrayed your own kind for sentiment. I betrayed no one. I chose truth over lies. These humans are not animals. They are people, different from us, but no less real. And you know this. Every warrior in that room knows this. We have fought them for 3 years, and they never broke. They mourned their dead and protected their weak and sang songs even as we destroyed their worlds. Only people do these things. Derek played louder, the harmonica's voice rising. Through the door's small viewport he saw movement. Korvathi warriors, at least 20, their weapons trained on 15 humans huddled in the corner, but some of the warriors had turned toward the door, listening. You cannot hear this music and still believe we fight animals, Cathara continued. You cannot hear cooperation between species and still believe war is inevitable. The choice before you is simple. Admit the war was wrong and release the hostages, or kill them and prove you're the monsters you claimed humans to be. One of the warriors inside lowered its weapon. The leader roared, striking the warrior across the face. Weakness. All of you, corrupted by their lies. Derek changed songs, something faster, more aggressive. A marching cadence his drill instructor taught him years ago. The shield singers adapted instantly, turning it into a war chant that resonated with Korvathi blood. More warriors lowered their weapons. We are not weak for choosing peace, Cathara sang. We are strong enough to admit we were wrong, are you? The leader raised its weapon toward the hostages. Derek's heart stopped. Vance's security team tensed, ready to breach despite the cost. Then one of the warriors tackled the leader from behind. Chaos erupted inside. Korvathi fought Korvathi, claws and blades flashing. The hostages scrambled for cover. Derek kept playing, refusing to let the music die. If it stopped now, the fragile moment would shatter. Vance hit the door release. Her team poured through, but they didn't fire. The Korvathi rebels were already surrendering, disarming themselves and kneeling in submission. Only their leader still fought, thrashing against the warriors who restrained it. Cathara entered and approached the leader. She spoke softly, too quiet for translation. The leader spat at her, its words venomous. She didn't flinch. Instead, she began to sing the river song. Just her voice alone. The leader stopped struggling. Its eyes widened. Then, impossibly, it began to weep, a sound like stones grinding together. Cathara placed her forehead against its forehead, that gesture of connection, and they stayed that way for a long moment. When she pulled back, the leader spoke one word. The translation came through clear. Forgiveness. Derek lowered his harmonica. His legs finally gave out, and he collapsed. Vance caught him, easing him to the ground. Medic, now! Did it work? Derek whispered. Yeah, you crazy bastard. It worked. Vance's voice was thick. Hostages are safe. Rebels are surrendering. You did it. Cathara knelt beside him, her claws gentle on his face. Rest now, shieldkin. You have earned it. The song, Derek managed. Did you teach them? I taught them the beginning. They will teach others. And others after them. She leaned close. One day, Derek Lawson, both our peoples will know this melody. They will sing it together and remember the human and the war beast who chose friendship over fear. That's a good legacy. It is our legacy, yours and mine, forged in music and blood. Derek's eyes closed. The last thing he heard was Cathara singing, her voice joined by the rebels, the hostages, the security team, Korvathi and human together. The river song filled the diplomatic quarters, spilled into the corridors, echoed through the station. 3 months later, Derek stood on the stage of the Interspecies Council chambers. His body had healed mostly. Scars remained inside and out, but he'd learned to live with them. Cathara stood beside him, her scales polished to obsidian perfection. Behind them, a choir, 50 humans and 50 Corvathi, arranged in careful harmony. They'd been practicing for weeks, learning each other's songs, building something new from the ashes of war. Derek raised his harmonica. Cathara lifted her voice. The choir followed. The river song began, but it had grown. New verses in both languages, new harmonies that represented not just cooperation, but genuine friendship. The audience, dignitaries from a dozen species, sat in stunned silence. When the final note faded, no one moved. Then a human diplomat started clapping. A Corvathi joined, its claws creating a different rhythm. Within seconds, the entire chamber erupted in applause that transcended species. Cathara looked at Derek and smiled. "We did this. We did," he agreed. She extended one claw. He took it. Together, they bowed to an audience that would have been impossible a year ago. Outside, in the space between stars, former enemies worked side by side to rebuild what war had destroyed, and everywhere they went, they sang. The melody of a river on Earth, transformed by an alien voice into a hymn of hope. One song, one human. One alien who refused to be what others made her. Sometimes, that's all.